Modern slavery. In the 15 years since a global treaty to combat human trafficking was adopted, modern slavery has gradually taken over as a catch-all term to describe human trafficking, forced labor, debt bondage, sex trafficking, forced marriage, and other slave-like exploitation. What is slavery? Slavery is a system that includes forced labor in which people are held against their will. Slaves don't have the freedom to make decisions about their work because they are bought and sold like property. Working conditions are generally very poor for slaves, and in many cases they are physically abused if they don't follow their owner's directions. Slaves can be men, women, and even young children. Before the United States won the Revolutionary War and was officially recognized as an independent nation in 1783, Africans were forced to come to America and work as slaves. What is forced labor? Forced labor is when people are forced to work usually for no or inadequate payment as a result of violence or intimidation. Many find themselves trapped, often in a foreign country, with their passports confiscated by employers and unable to leave. Declaration of Human Rights. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a milestone document in the history of human rights, drafted by representatives with different legal and cultural backgrounds from all regions all over the world. The declaration was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in Paris on the 10th of December of 1948 as a common standard of achievements for all peoples and all nations. It sets out for the first time fundamental human rights to be universally protected, and it has been translated into over 500 languages. Despite this significant process, however, there are 45.8 million people enslaved today, more than any other time in the world history. That's amazing! The United States Department of Homeland Security has launched a field campaign in light to its growing industry, hoping to raise awareness of the human trafficking that persists in local communities. Nestle is one of the largest companies that has constantly carried out human rights violations all over the world. In the 1970s, they got the third world mothers to use infant formula by selling it at reduced prices, and then they raised up the price of formula so much that many children were malnourished and starving. In 2009, several former child slaves sued Nestle because they were trafficked and forced to work on Nestle farms in Cote d'Ivoire. Others sued former by child in 2014. UNICEF, the Department of State's confirmed that thousands of children are forced to work without pay in Ivorian economy. In 2016, the Federal Labor Association excluded an assessment of Nestle in Cote d'Ivoire. They claim that 70% of Nestle farms were not trained for the prohibition of forced labor. Further, they state that there is no process in place to monitor, report, and remedy cases of forced labor at the farms. With this in mind, they didn't find evidence of potential forced and uncompensated labor. Additionally, they found evidence of child labor, many of these children never enrolling in school, in which children were getting paid little to nothing, and often working in dangerous conditions. Nike, Nike has already cleaned up their act in at least several years, but in a standard of no slave labor. They still have a quite way to go. In 1992, activist Jeff Bollinger published an expose in Harper's that revealed the story of a child in Indonesia working in disgusting conditions and for a mere of 14 cents per hour, far below the minimum wage in Indonesia at the time. Since then, NICE has begun the report supply chain information. The most recent report claims that in 2016, only 86% of their factories were of the minimum standards they said. Thus, they give a good indication of how far the company has come. These standards are set by Nike and asked internally, making it difficult to compare standards to a universal one.